Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's take another look here at Bitcoin, see what's going on. To preface, Bitcoin dominance is increasing. We're seeing it trending closer towards 58%, which is generally unfavorable for altcoins. We can see most altcoins kind of responding poorly to Bitcoin's pullback. Keep in mind too here, Bitcoin is dropping below its more local low. Basically here over the weekend, essentially we saw a price no lower than 63,500. And now at this point, we've tested it twice and broken through. So there's a solid chance we're going to see either a bearish backtest at 63.5 or potentially just the price continues to run down. Now, it's not to say it can't recover, just saying that's definitely a little thing that we can kind of see on the charts here so far. Let's look at the backend data kind of quickly to note a couple of important factors here, because when we looked at liquidation last, there wasn't a ton of liquidation below the price action. And let's see if there is now a little bit. Yeah, 62K has a little bit of liquidation there. And we see some here about 63,000 even. Because again, those are some late longs at 63. So not surprised by that, but nothing super significant. We do have a absolutely large amount of liquidation above about 65.3 upwards of 66.5. So again, I'll highlight that on our playout chart here with our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. But if you look here, we got a pretty chunky amount, about 10 billion in liquidation at 65.3. Okay. Now we have a double top there essentially. I don't expect that level to be tested right away, especially with the way we're opening here today, but just know that that does exist upwards of 67K. So there's a lot of liquidation there, but also keep in mind too, a lot of resistance as well. Okay? A lot of people are trying to short this coin. It would make sense for market makers to essentially move the price action up, but it also makes more sense for it to pull back considering we're seeing such resistance in this range. Okay? So keep that in mind. Try not to blindly just get stuck on the fact that liquidation is there. It can be positive or negative depending on how you look at it. The overall trend here, though, is starting to slow down. While we do have this nice leg up and there's a decent chance we'll see the price action continue higher, we're still honoring an ascending trend line. We may see a pullback here soon, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So taking a look here at the moving averages, let's quickly note we are tentatively testing the 200-day SMA here and under the 100. Depending on how we close here today could determine how much further down we go. That's not a big deal breaker per se, because we've closed 3 days above that, so you'd think it would be a support. It should act as one, but at this point, it's too early to tell. Weekends, double doji on a weekend doesn't really tell us too much. But in truth, double doji candles do essentially imply further downside in most cases, because it's been unable in the last 48 hours to continue further up, right? And it would make sense for it to pull back just based on the overextension. Looking at the daily here, we're over 50 on the RSI. That's generally a bullish sign. MACD is starting to lose its momentum, but that candlestick hasn't closed yet, so it's still too early to tell. Volume is still pretty low in the overall sense. So my speculation is we will see a pullback based on just this limited data. But if we look at the 4-hour time frame, it might tell us different. No, it does tell us a confirming factor here. Again, this is just something I like to look for. It's not a guarantee, but when I see the price drop below the 20-day SMA on the 4-hour time frame, it's kind of an eye-opener letting me know that, hey, we might be moving to the downside, or we might be shifting gears depending on the direction. So having said that, that and the more local low essentially here, right here where we can see the price at 63.5 holding above that level. Now that we're below it, if we close below that on this this time frame here, the 4-hour time frame, then there's a solid chance we'll see the price continue lower. We got about an hour left in this candle, so it's a little too early, but these are kind of some of the signs where we start seeing kinks in the chain, or whatever the term is, cracks in the glass. We can see that we're starting to lose that momentum. Having said that, we got a MACD divergence here, of course. We've seen that for a little while. And obviously we can see RSI trending towards 50. So this is still generally favorable in the overall sense, being above 50, but with it pushing down kind of like it is here, an increased amount of volume, at least in this most recent candle, it leads me to believe we will see a little bit further downside, but there's also some support in this range too. So honestly, the 4-hour time frame isn't super indicative here. What we want to respect here is the fact that we got this 200-day SMA. Sorry, that's the 50-day SMA. Let's go ahead and pull that out here a little bit further so we kind of pay attention to this later. Again, these are never exact lines, but it is important to kind of recognize where we're at here with the overall sense of the trend. And this just kind of gives us an indication that we are honoring the ascending trend line still, okay? So again, this is not a dire straits, terrible situation at all. Again, if we look at these moving averages here and everything combined, the price does end up pulling back based on Elliott wave or just in general, a standard retracement based on Fibonacci itself. 0.382, a bounce off 62.3, 61.5 or 60.6 would be 3 potential areas to pay attention to. Those could be good dollar cost average targets. I'd be very interested in a long in the 61K range. So again, that's kind of that. Let's take a look at the hourly here and quickly recognize the Ichimoku cloud and recognize, of course, we're with the lagging spans free and clear of the price action. That's generally the first sign to consider a short. Second sign is the lagging span, or sorry, the conversion line being below the baseline. That's also another sign. And if we do kind of zoom in a little here, we can see we're inside the cloud. But if the price does not close at 64.3 or higher today, we're going to be naturally below the cloud, and that'll become somewhat of a resistance for us. So again, unless we see a pretty strong rally today to close above that 64.5 mark, that tentative resistance, you can kind of see it here, then we are going to be in a position where the price action breaks down lower. You see, we are in a definitive range since Friday. Obviously, again, weekends maybe a little bit lower volume, less predictable, but we've broken free from this range here so far. We've closed officially below. There's a strong chance with us being below this point of control that we're going to probably see further downside. And again, the question I'm getting a lot right now, how much lower are we going to go? Well, I got my target set at about 62.4, 61.5, and again 60.6. I'll post this playout chart here in our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, and obviously I'll have a trade alert in our Discord as well. So if you're not familiar, make sure you reference these here. Kind of just give you insight on what I'm planning to do with my trades, and just generally speaking, it's just something to kind of give you a heads up on trades that I'm looking for. Okay, because we do have a short open with Bitcoin right now. We are in profit a good maybe 1.5–2%. And since that's 10x leverage, we're probably looking at 10 to 15. But regardless of that fact, we still got an upside down trade with Solana as well. So it's like it's all going to break even at the end of the day. But the truth is, at this point, market's funky. Try not to get too crazy with over leveraging and or too large a position size. Okay, so just be careful. At this point, I appreciate you watching. Hope you learned something. If you did, comment below. Hit the like button. All that wonderful stuff. Deeply appreciate you growing the channel. We'll look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Have yourself a great rest of your day.